Hello guys, my name is Crypto Kib and it's been a while since I've last done any video. Actually, I've been busy. It's been a busy last week for me and then I got cold. So I couldn't make any recordings until now. So I want us to quickly look at the outlook on BTC. We all saw BTC drop last week and people buyers changed to bearish buyers. It is quite an interesting week actually, and so we have a lot of scenarios that may actually play out on Bitcoin. Bearish or bullish, we have to find out in this video. So let's get it started. Starting from the weekly time frame, as usual, we do the top-down analysis. We could see what happened there last week was a big sell-off. We show that all the action that played out during this last upper week green candle is a distribution for sell. People were accumulating sell orders. They were filling their sell orders. And then we saw this bearish engulfing candle. So normally when we have a bearish engulfing candle, it shows that there is bearish sentiment in the market. But looking at the overall structure is still bullish. So I wouldn't expect, because we have a bearish engulfing candle, which is not a major top to me, I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't pay too much. I won't pay too much priority to it. Yes, it is a bearish engulfing, and then we can rule like this as our supply zone. Some people use bearish engulfing as supply zone, so we can have a zone or a resistance zone like this on the weekly, which means price is currently back into it and they are probably looking for fitters on where to sell this market for a more down move. Looking at this structure, we realize we have a structure here which is in place, which is a bullish structure, right? And from every bullish structure, we expect a retracement and then a continuation to the upside. So what we are trying to see is a move down and then a continuation to the upside. We have a move down now, which is 50% of this swing guy, this swing move. If we are to take a Fibonacci 2 and rule from this very lows to this very high, this is a 50% range, which is just about right, which means this is a top for this particular swing, from this swing low to this swing high. It is not a top because it has made a 50% retracement, and once price make a 50% retracement, we are expecting two things: either it continues and make an higher high, or it makes an ABC pattern retracement. That is LR2S, right? So we might either have A, B, C, and the C will be testing deeper into the 62,705 or 78% level on the Fibonacci. And once this correction is done, we expect price to move higher. So we may likely have something like this. It's possible we have a correction like this, then find a point of resistance on this zone, and then coming back into anywhere around this green eyes. Let me change this to the default so we can easily see. So here is a 78% level, here is a 61.8, here is a 50%. So anywhere from this golden ratio to the 78.6% level is where we'll be looking for a buy move, if this 50% level do not push prices higher. So we may likely have an ABC correction and then a continuation to the upside. And this means once this swing low is broken, that is when a bearish sentiment kicks in on a full time. And when we look at this structure, we have a demand zone on the weekly time frame, which is from this point to the very lows where we have our 4-hour and daily demand zone previously. So this will be our new demand zone on the weekly time frame from this very point. So we that trade supply and demand, we may want to see a pullback from this level for an ABC correction into the demand. But the moment this very low breaks at 27 points, let me mark it, 27,800. The moment this very low breaks, then a bearish sentiment kicks in on a full-time basis. So we want to see this demand hold and push price to an higher level. Sorry for my voice. I see out there a little bit of flu, so I'm just trying to release this video because it is important that I make this. So that is the outlook on the weekly time frame. I'm expecting something like this, either from this level higher, or we get a deeper pullback like this. But I'm still bullish that this bullish market is still continuing until this price time breaks on the weekly. So now, bearing this in mind that this now is a bit of supply, which we have to narrow down on the daily and 4-hour to know the exact point. So let's quickly take a look. Let me remove this. Let's take a look on the daily and see what scenario we have. So this is the outlook of things on the 4 hours. On the daily. A quick look at this will show that this supply zone is actually here on the daily. Here we have a supply zone that I personally will be looking to take. So remember that at this point we have a new weekly demand at this point. That was where we had a previous 4-hour demands that had previously, pushing price up to these 50,000 levels. And then we have a new demand at this particular level too, which is, that is the 39,249 level price line. So what am I likely expecting from this move? This was also a demand of 4-hour, I think. Yes, let me quickly look at the 4-hour. Okay, yes, we had, in my last analysis, I talked about this, combining this very demand zone and this very demand zone to be one. So price has come back into it and is holding. Okay, so that is a demand which is also holding for now. So what do we see at this point is that we may likely see a price move into this supply zone, from this current demand level into this supply zone, and then maybe we get a pullback into this particular new demand level that broke the previous supply zone. So that is a scenario you may want to bear in mind. But then there is another thing here which I am looking at. We have a new zone right inside of this zone. We have price falling continuously. Bulls try to get it back up here, they failed. Then we have this bullish engulfing candle. The volume is just about it, just touching the average level. But then it is not the bullish engulfing that I am seeing here. I am seeing this as a very important level, because if you look at these previous candles, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 red bars, and the close of this candle is just at the tip of the 4th red bars. So the actions of BS in 4 days was undone in a single day by the bulls. That makes this level very important. Forget that it's even at a point of previous demand. So this level is now an important level. So I may anticipate something like this, like a move into the supply and back into this demand, then back into the supply. Either it breaks it, and if it refuses to break it, maybe we see a little range between these two zones or any other zone created. But then we have to narrow down to the 4-hour to see what exactly is going on. Bear in mind that we have narrowed this weekly level onto the daily time frame. We have narrowed it onto a daily supply. So this is a level we want to currently focus at as our supply. And this is a point of daily resistance, daily support or demand that we're seeing now. So let's narrow down a bit onto the 4 hours to exactly see what is happening. All right. If we are even going to narrow this further down, we have this fake out here on these 2 candles. We might decide to shift this demand up to this level. Supply. But then looking at this particular level as well, it might hold. So we can just leave it as it was, which was encompassing these 2 zones. And looking at this point, it was a fake out. We have this move coming above and closing right back into it. Not closing above this high, nor closing above this high on 2 consecutive candles. So this 1, 2 here is a fake out. So we can take this as a beginning of our supply zone. Also on the 4 hour. But the move really started from this point. Also, if you look at this move here too, we have another supply here on the 4 hour. So let's mark that as another supply. So we want to bear that in mind. Also, we have a supply here as well at this particular point. Though it is not a very good one, but it's still a supply. We have price coming, boost, push price back up, from resistance came back and met with steep sell-off. So let's mark that as well. Now, what can we notice from all this price action? Now, from this particular move here, we also have a little demand. Not particularly a strong one either, but it's still a demand. We want to pay attention to all these little demand and supply zones. So now this is what we have. This was a move to the 58,000 level. This is a pullback. We have this supply on the daily and on the 4 hour. We have this supply on the 4 hour. We have this supply on the 4 hour. This demand on the 4 hour. And also we have another demand even on the 4 hour. Remember this particular demand. Let me shift this to the side. Remember this particular demand is the demand on the 4 hour, which means it's at the 46,000 price level. But also we have another new demand on the 4 hour, which is here, starting from the 44,386 price level. So looking at these 4 hour zones as it is, what are we seeing? We have this pullback from these very highs, and we have an ABC move already. This low is lower than this, so it makes it a complete ABC move when we look at Elliott waves. And remember on the weekly, this corrective move has made a 50% retracement of the entire swing move up to 58,000 level. And now we have on the 4 hour an ABC move, which shows that the corrective waves is complete on the 4 hours. On the daily is another difference entirely. But on the 4 hours, it shows that this corrective move is complete. So if that is so, this is a high that led to this lower lows here. This is a lower high that leads to this lower low. This is our invalidation level for a bullish continuation. And what did we see? If price was to move down a bit further into this lower demand zone here, the thing we might see is a corrective move on this particular swing itself, like we have here up to this zone, coming back, then like making a lower high to this very height, and then price will come back down, making even a new lower lows like this, a lower lows to this C. But that is not what we saw. What we see is this C move is at this very point, which has made an higher high to this lower highs here. This means this invalidation level has been taken out. So a bullish sentiment should continue. Looking at this analysis, right? This is ABC. The moment this breaks, it shows bulls are ready to take back control. Now, as we know, this should become the wave 1 of a new impulse wave. And we should have it 2 correctional wave, which is another ABC, either to this point or to this demand. Then we have a 3 and a 4 and a 5. I may adjust this soon. So what is actually happening is we have this ABC. Then it has broken this size. If it didn't break this size, but just a bit lower, I will still expect price to come down into this lower demand level at 39 price region. But then we have this high which has broken the size, the invalidation level, and this is an ABC that has broken it. So it definitely becomes our 1. This becomes 0 to 1 of a new impulse move. But remember, impulse moves also happen in 5 subwaves. Sometimes it may go with 3 like this. It may take this as even like this 1, 2. Some people, some experts of electron will count that. They may count it as like this. This becomes their 2. Let me make this a bit big. Some experts on Elliott waves will see this like this. They will take this as the 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we say the move is complete. So this becomes our wave 1. Then we expect wave 2 to either find support at this particular demand or find support at this particular demand. Either the daily demand at 46,000 level, this price line, or the forward demand, but not lower than this price line. So this then becomes our 1, 2, 3. This 3 might then find resistance at this 4-hour supply zone or at this daily supply zone. If it finds resistance at this 4-hour supply zone, it might then come back to find a demand at any other level, any other demand level it creates. Why it's going up? Then this, we expect 5, the 5th move, to break this high, right? But then I will personally expect the 3rd move to at least come to this price level. So this is what I may personally expect. I may expect this. Let me remove this for now. I will expect this to be like this. I will expect this to be 1, and then this to be 2. If this is at 3, we might still see this move come back high to find resistance at this point. Then I will expect something like this to be 4, then this to be 5, finding resistance at the daily supply level. So I may expect something like this. It can also happen like this. It can also happen like this. As a 5 will find rejection at this point or at this particular point, which means it might break this supply zone only to find the resistance at this daily supply zone. Then if this is it, when we see a complete 5 waves, what do we expect? We expect a 3 waves correction, which means we may have A, B, C up onto this level, but not lower than this, right? And once this happens, this then becomes our 1. This then becomes our 1. Whatever level, either this level is where it chooses to go back up, or this level becomes our 2, but not lower than this level, right? Then we find a 3 above of this size, then a 4 and a 5 even above. Let me make this tiny a bit again. So let me remove this now, and let me remove this ABC. So we have the new 1, 2, 3 to 4 and to 5. Then this will be the expectation on a bullish scenario, being the fact that this ABC has been completed. So that will be the first scenario. And if this is our 1 in its entirety, Either I find support here or here. You can choose to find it here, come here on the daily supply, then bounce back again into a new demand that may break either this level or close above this level if it chooses to come back from this point. And then we have a 5 above this level. And once we have the 5 above that level, our Fibonacci will then tell us the point at which price might retrace to, which is either the 50%, 61%, or 78%. So that is the expectation on the 4 hours. So as it is, the move is still bullish. The move we have now is still bullish to me. But the moment this breaks on the 4 hour, it may show a difference in entirely. So let's see what again is happening on the daily. Remember, we have the ABC complete on the 4 hours. So let's see on the daily what exactly do we have. This is what we see on the daily. We have this ABC here, but I wouldn't take this as ABC on the daily. I would think this is what is about to happen. We have from this correction part, this will be my A. I wouldn't take this as my ABC on the daily because this move is too insignificant. It's more or less sideways. It's an inside bar, so it's more or less sideways. So I wouldn't take it as my ABC on the daily time frame. Then I may say this has been broken. We might have a price move into this particular 4 hour zone or this particular daily zone here, and then a pull back down to this level, making the C. Remember, this was the demand that took out the first major supply zone we met while we were rallying. So this might be the thing that wants to happen. Here, this daily supply zone, which is also inside of the weekly supply zone, as the point of resistance, and they're coming to find demand at this demand zone that broke this first supply zone. Then once this is completed, this is our invalidation level, right? This is the lows. This is the lows that led to an higher high, this particular 28,880. This is the invalidation level as it is, because the structure we have in place is this. We have this structure as we from this lows to this side, to this, and to this side. That is still a bullish structure. Now we have this, which is also 50% of this entire swing. So it is natural to expect an higher high from this particular point. It is also natural to expect an ABC retracement like this before we see the higher highs. In as much as this invalidation levels remains intact, we are still looking quite bullish. So once we have this, what will be the expectation? The expectation will be a new continuation of pattern from this particular level to start in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will be the new formation. If this level holds, if this level doesn't hold, we have some minor demands, maybe lower time frame demands at this point, also at this particular point. But for the fact that this low does not break, then we are still bullish. And the moment this low breaks, then we are kicking in a bearish sentiment on a full-time basis. So looking at BTC, the structure is still quite bullish. So we are still bullish on this Bitcoin move. No matter where the resistance is, we have a little demand, and here we even have a rally-based rally, depending on how this particular candle closes on the day. Now let me quickly say something on the week before I call it a day. Now we have this bearish engulfing candle, right? And bulls are taking back control. Let's see what move the range of this candle. Now we've made around the 61% level. As you can see, this particular level and this particular 78.6% level of Fibonacci should be the place bulls should be allowed to take control up to before we get a pullback to the downside. So let's see how it happens. Bulls are already looking extremely bullish at these candles. The wick is not that much. The candle itself is a strong one. So if we mistakenly have an eye from this particular point a bit higher than this side, then we are back on a bullish sentiment or a bullish scenario. That means the correction is done. But for the fact that we still do not have that, the week is still has some days to go to close. So we want to see how it happens. Definitely, if we are to see a lower demand, I will expect the close of this candle to be a bit bearish than it is right now. I want to see sellers stepping in again, pushing price back way low, showing they are serious in business. Even for the fact that they are allowing bulls to take control up to this extent is a sign of weakness on the side of the bulls. On the side of the bears. So the bulls are taking control, major control. And today we are entering the Thursday of the week, which is the fourth day of the week. And price action is looking like this. It shows seriousness on part of the bulls. Shows some people are really accumulating and buying the dip. And for the fact that this has made a 50% retracement on this swing, shows the moment we get a little higher above this side, we are back to a bullish scenario. And we might even see a major rally once more. So that is it for the Bitcoin analysis. How this candle chooses to close won't entirely matter, but it will matter for whatever demand is here on the 4 hour. We have this demand. If price chooses to come back, it might hold for a little upside. But I will be more willing to trade on this particular demand level here. And this supply as well as the supply. So, but as it is now, we have this side broken, which means we are bullish once again. And then we have this high to an high to a low to an high move. So our bullish sentiment is still alive. This particular candle is an anomaly showing selling pressures. We have selling pressures here, but then we are still above the highs of these candles. We have a demand here, we have a demand here. This supply is broken. Once supply is broken, it shows it's changing state of the market. So as for me on Bitcoin, we are still bullish. But then I won't be bullish anymore until these very lows breaks. That will be on the daily and on the weekly time frame. So that is it for Bitcoin, guys. I will bring you another analysis and some other tutorial and lessons once I'm quite well. Thank you for watching this, guys. Have a nice day.